Is true influence really about winning? Or is it maybe more about genuine connection?
Yeah, and can a classic guide on, winning friends actually teach authentic relationships? Or does it sometimes risk teaching, well, manipulation?
Welcome. Today we're taking a deep dive into Dale Carnegie's really pioneering 1936 work, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Our mission really is to pull out the most important insights from this book, understand why it's still relevant today, and maybe critically examine its principles for, building rapport, handling conflict, and finding success.
And just so you know, as you listen, you are experiencing a unique two-voice AI conversation. This is powered by Google's NotebookLM, our advanced AI research assistant. It helped us distill the book's core arguments for a hopefully deeper and more dynamic analysis.
It's fascinating. This book came out in the mid-1930s. You have to remember the context people were focused on: social progress, personal success, especially with the economic recovery happening.
And it just took off. It became, and honestly still is, a foundational text in business and personal development.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to unpack its core psychological insights, particularly that focus on appreciation, empathy, and respect.
What's interesting, too, is how Carnegie actually structured his arguments, how he presented his ideas to make them, stick.
How did he do that?
Well, he leaned heavily on his own credibility, his ethos, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a lecturer, a pioneer in public speaking, human relations.
Ah, okay. So his experience as a coach, a teacher.
Exactly. And he backs it up with tons of real-world anecdotes, success stories from his students. It grounds everything.
So it wasn't just abstract theory then. He used his practical, lived experience and the results his students got. That makes it feel very relatable, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then there's the pathos, the emotion. He really knew how to evoke that.
How so?
The book taps into that universal desire we all have for, better relationships, for having a greater impact. And he reinforces this with these really emotionally resonant stories that spark hope, empathy.
So he wasn't just telling you what to do, but tapping into the why it matters on a deeper emotional level. Almost like giving interactions more purpose than just, say, being popular.
Spot on. And he balanced that emotional appeal with logic, with logos.
Okay.
He presents these clear step-by-step principles, very logically laid out, often with practical examples, scenarios. And his tone throughout is just encouraging, conversational, optimistic, filled with these stories and historical bits to make it memorable.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. The book really breaks human interaction down into these core areas with pretty clear principles. What are some of the really memorable ones you'll find?
Well, he organizes it around these actionable principles, right? And uses stories and checklists constantly. So in the fundamental techniques in handling people, you get things like don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
One always jumps out.
It does. And give sincere appreciation, also inspire eager want in the other person.
That sounds like a pretty radical shift for a lot of people, especially that don't criticize part. It takes a lot of self-control, I imagine.
It really does, and it sets a powerful foundation. Then you move into the 6 ways to make people like you.
Yeah.
Principles like be genuinely interested in others, simple but profound, smile, remember and use people's names.
Oh, the name thing. That's such a simple detail, but so often overlooked, right? I still remember this one time I completely blanked on someone's name right after they told me.
Yeah.
You could just feel the wall go up. It's funny how something so basic changes everything.
It truly can.
Yeah.
Other principles in that section: be a good listener, talk in terms of the other person's interests, and, crucially, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely.
Sincerity seems key there.
Absolutely. Then for win people to your way of thinking, the advice shifts again. Things like, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Avoid it altogether.
That's the idea. Also, show respect for the other person's opinions. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Begin in a friendly way. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. And try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Plus, appeal to the nobler motives.
That sounds less like winning a debate and more about, de-escalation, finding common ground, maybe preserving the relationship.
Precisely. It's about connection over conflict. And finally, the section on being a leader, changing people without giving offense or arousing resentment.
Right, the leadership angle.
Here you learn things like begin with praise and honest appreciation. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person.
The humility approach.
Exactly. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Let the other person save face. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to, and make the fault seem easy to correct.
So, stepping back from the specific lists, what does this all mean for you, the listener, tuning in right now? How do these principles tap into, fundamental human needs?
Yeah, looking at the bigger picture, these principles really target key psychological drives that are, frankly, universal. We all have that desire for importance, right? That need to feel heard, understood.
It's deep-seated.
Totally. Carnegie recognized these core needs and basically gave people actionable steps to address them in their daily interactions.
It's pretty remarkable how relevant these still feel decades later. 1930s. But you still see this stuff taught everywhere. What gives it that lasting power, that broad impact?
I think a big part of it is the simplicity and universality of the principles. Yes, the phrasing might feel a bit dated, 1930s style and all,
Sure.
but the fundamental insights into human behavior, they remain widely accepted, widely practiced, even by modern leaders, across cultures, generations.
So the core human psychology hasn't really changed that much, even if the world looks completely different. It's fascinating.
Those core needs importance, being heard, they seem almost impervious to tech shifts or societal changes. Does Carnegie's work kind of suggest that beneath all our modern complexity, our basic drivers for connection are still surprisingly simple?
It really does suggest that. And look at its breadth of impact, business, politics, teaching, just everyday relationships. It demonstrates how effective things like appreciation, a certain kind of directness combined with empathy can be for positive outcomes.
Yeah.
This book, it's more than just a manual for popularity, right? It's really a framework for respectful, ethical influence. It definitely shaped modern approaches to leadership and just personal connection. You still see these principles taught everywhere: corporate leadership programs, personal development courses. This whole journey into Carnegie's work really underscores the power of understanding core human psychology. And actually, if you're keen to explore more profound insights like these, remember to check out Mindful Moments on our YouTube channel. It's another great resource, uses AI book analysis, really designed to inspire reflection and rational thought.
But like any powerful tool, it's not without potential pitfalls, right?
Right.
Which is worth exploring. If the book is so powerful, are there downsides? Criticisms? This is where we probably need to put our critical thinking hats on.
That's a really crucial point. Where are the limitations? What are people concerned about?
Well, the main criticism usually centers on that risk of manipulation.
Okay.
These techniques, if you use them insincerely without genuine feeling behind them, they could easily come across as manipulative rather than truly relational. Which raises a really important question for you listening. Where is that line between influence and manipulation? Maybe it's not just about your intention, but also the outcome. Does the other person feel genuinely respected, empowered, or do they just feel steered? Think about it. Is it manipulation if you praise someone just to get them to do a task they hate? Or is it influence if your praise genuinely acknowledges their effort and maybe makes the task more palatable, helping achieve a shared goal? It's subtle.
That's a critical distinction. It makes me wonder if the book's effectiveness then really hinges on the user's ethical compass, maybe more than the techniques themselves. It's less a rigid formula, perhaps, and more a lens for viewing interactions.
Exactly. Well put. Additionally, some argue the advice fits best in, let's say, non-adversarial situations.
Okay, so less effective when things get really heated.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Some critics feel that really deep disagreements or highly contentious negotiations might require a level of directness, maybe even confrontation, that isn't fully captured in Carnegie's method.
So in those really tough spots, a purely Carnegie approach might, I guess, fall short. It's maybe not a one-size-fits-all solution for every single human interaction.
That seems like a fair assessment. And yeah, sure, some examples, some cultural references might feel a bit dated now, but the underlying psychology, as we discussed, that seems pretty robust. The challenge for you, the listener, is how can you ensure that when applying these techniques, your intentions remain authentic and ethical? That's the critical thinking piece this book really prompts us to engage with. Looking at this whole thing from a wider perspective, Dale Carnegie's book basically teaches that winning friends, influencing people. It starts with authentic respect, a positive approach, and just an honest desire to understand other people.
Yeah.
And its advice feels just as relevant sitting on the porch talking to your grandkids as it does in a corporate boardroom or, a political negotiation.
This deep dive into how to win friends and influence people has certainly given us, and hopefully you, a lot to think about regarding the art and maybe the ethics of human connection and influence. We really hope it sparks your own reflections.
And for more intellectually stimulating discussions, insights like these, do remember to explore Mindful Moments and our other deep dives.
Absolutely.
But maybe leave the listener with this thought. Given how powerful these principles can be, what responsibility comes with that ability to influence others? And how do you make sure your interactions are always rooted in authentic respect, not just mere technique?
That is a powerful challenge to end on. Definitely something to ponder. We hope this exploration has sparked your own thinking about connection and influence. Remember to subscribe for more valuable insights like this.
And share this with someone who you think might benefit from these lessons.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're inspired to actually read the book yourself, you can find a purchase link in the description.
And as always, remember to think critically about the information you encounter.